Attention S&P artists, are you looking to take your business to the next level? It's time to fully systemize your studio for growth with the ultimate sales and marketing platform for S&P artists, HighLead. With HighLead, you get everything that you need to save time and effortlessly generate more consultations and bookings on autopilot. And guess what? HighLead is not just a system, but also one of the largest Google ad agencies in the world for S&P professionals. Imagine having a marketing strategy that's tailor-made for the S&P industry, driving high-quality leads right to your studio. Say goodbye to the struggle of finding the latest marketing trend. HighLead has you covered. Invested into your training? Check. Invested into your equipment and studio setup? Check. Now it's time to invest into your marketing strategy. Don't risk your marketing budget on anything else until you've experienced HighLead's growth system and Google Ads services. Don't pass on this special opportunity for listeners of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Visit GoHighLead.com today to book a free demo now and join the hundreds of S&P artists who've embraced HighLead to thrive in their businesses. On the free no-obligation demo call, a member of HighLead's team will answer all of your questions and help you unlock the potential of your S&P studio by getting you more bookings. Visit GoHighLead.com today. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scalp Solutions podcast. I'm your host, David Santiago, and today I'm super thrilled to have this guy, man. This is H, the technician. Let me tell you something. H brought scalp micropigmentation to the state of Utah, and he's trained industry leaders from across the freaking country. All right. He's made his name for himself by specializing in soft and natural hairlines and has completed over 1,000 procedures. I'm going to say that again. He has completed over 1,000 procedures. He's both an instructor teaching aspiring artists and a lifelong student, always striving to improve his craft. H is a leader in the S&P industry, and he is one of the best S&P artists in the West Coast. Do not get it twisted.
Right.
So let's welcome H, the technician, to the podcast. What's good, brother?
What's up, man? What's up? Thank you for having me on here. I've been waiting for this one.
My brother, let me tell you something. I tried to tap in with you a while ago, and I remember I talked with Juan because you guys did like a master class together, and he just brought you up, and he was like, yo, you know, Dave, you never had my boy H, the technician, on the podcast, bro, and I think you and him will vibe so good. And I looked at him and I was like, yo, Juan, I reached out to Cuz, bro, and he never responded back to me. He was like, what? No way, bro. He's not like that at all. I was like, nah, I get it. He's busy. We all get caught up. No hard feelings. I was like, yo, so make it happen. But
now what happened is I just seen that text that you sent me on the last one. I was like, damn, brother just hit me a year ago and I didn't even see it because I've been wanting to get on it. And I was like, shit.
it is what it is, bro.
Hey, I gained some more knowledge that we get to talk
Yo,
about.
there we go. Now you got some more experience, so you could give the community, brother. So let's get it started, brother. Let us know. Can you just share a little bit about your background, bro, before you even got into scalp micropigmentation?
Yeah, man. So just to keep it short and simple, I've been hustling my whole life. You know what I mean? Not always living the most best honest lifestyle, not so great, just poorly lifestyle. And I'm blessed to be here today, just to be able to speak about this and to be able to bless people, you know, with my skills. This fell into my lap about 6 years ago, bro. And once I started S&P, I took off and ran with it. Never looked back. Never did anything else. And it's just been that simple for me. You know, I've been blessed. I've been
Got
blessed
you.
with it.
And I was gonna ask, like, how long ago? But you answered that it's been 6 years. But what was it that drew you into the industry?
So I was sitting on my getting a haircut. I used to have dreads, braids, and since I was like 16. That's why I got SMP now, because it unpulled it, you know what I mean?
I peeped that, bro. Not to cut you off, because when we were looking for, we was like, yo, we got to get a photo for him for the interview, and I was like, that's not him. So my boy's looking. He was like, yo, he's like, hey Dave, this is what we could use for that. I was like, yo, bro, that's not him. Like this guy's got cornrows and shit. And
Yeah.
I look
So
close. I was like,
so
oh,
so
okay.
I started receding, and not up here, but on the sides, right? And I used to have to shave it all the way up and keep the top. And my barber was like, "Hey, yo, check these dudes out in New York. They're doing some tattoo type stuff." I was like, "I love it. I dig it." Right. Long story short, maybe about a year later, I fell into a bad place in my life, and I was just like, I need to change my life. And I need to do something. I have $10,000 to my name. That's all I'm worth. Um, I started researching about this because I wanted to get this done, and then I seen training. I seen training at two different places, one in New York, one in Sacramento. Boom, boom. One thing led me to another, and I said, I'm gonna train. Nobody's doing it in Utah. I've been lining up my friends my whole life. I know you never pushed back. And I came into the game wanting to do nothing but hard edge ups because at the time nobody's doing them, right? And I'm like, easy. So that's how I came. And now I'm the opposite. I'm so against hard edge ups, but I'm not what I am. But you know what I'm saying?
So so check this out, man. What was the process like for you to get your studio up and running? And what was some of the costs involved? Because I know you said at the time you had $10,000 to yourself. And before you answer that question, brother, I just want for the people that are listening, today, this podcast is super intentional because a lot of the times you got some artists that they be feeding you some stuff, man, that get you all riled up, got you pulling out your life saving, thinking that you're about to reverse that thing into a gold mine. But I want you to pay attention to this story right here. So, H, you got $10,000 to your name. What do you do to get your studio up and running? What would the cost involved with that?
For sure. So 10,000, five of it, six of it went to training right away.
Boom,
Come
gone.
back, and I'm excited. My first set I do in my basement. The most uncomfortable place I could have ever done anything. It was one of my best friends. He loved it. I hate it today, but he still loves it. He was happy. I have pictures all the time of him smiling. And I'm like, I got to get a studio. I got to get somewhere, right? I found a place where they were really lenient, but they were expensive. I asked for a loan. My mama gave me a loan, and I started from there and went and got a studio, small. I'd say
What was that loan
like
like though, H, if you don't mind?
what
What
was
we talking here? What was the loan like that she helped you get
my
started?
first loan she gave me was 5,000.
Got
She
you.
said, "Hey, I done pulled 20,000 out of some equity from the house. What do you need?" I said, "I just need 5,000 to get into this studio right now."
Shout out to Mom Dukes.
Yes. Then I bought the stuff that I needed. Really simple, a bed, 300 bucks at a time. Supplies were cheap. They're always cheap, and the studio was already kind of furnished, right? So it was perfect. I did my first month last month, came out 3,000. I have maybe $2,000 left. $2,000 left. I put a website and some Google ads. And from there, it's just been history.
Game
Uh,
over.
it's definitely an investment after the training. You ain't just gonna go and get it. It's something that you have to think about and have a little bit of savings and know that you have to invest some more. It doesn't stop after training.
Many people believe that investing, $4,000 or $5,000 in S&P training means that they're gonna make their money back right away. Can you share your thoughts on that perception? I know you kind of ended that last one with that, but I kind of really want you to like
Well,
zero.
it's different for everybody. So if you're not a hustler, if you don't go out there and get it, the heads are not going to come knocking at your door, right? You have to understand that you have to go and look for people to do for free in order to start getting better and get your skills up so that you could start charging. I started by saying, hey, just tip me to a lot of my friends and family, right? Tip me if you like it. I just need to get the skill going. There was a point that we went to the homeless shelter and pulled somebody from there just to do his head, just to get content. Um, After you feel like you could charge, then you start at 1,000, maybe 500. Who, everybody's different. And once you're confident enough, and then you get people from Google, then you get to charge up a little more. So you charge up as you go, but in order to get going and charge, you have to get those skills right. You have to practice. You have to do something decent enough to get some money.
Yeah. So and are you that transparent about it when you're talking to your students? Because you're training now, and the reason we're even talking about this and kind of like what I told you offline, and we both agree that we do see it that is happening, and we don't agree with it because it's misleading, right? It's kind of like
Right.
setting these guys up for failure because they're like, oh shit, $3,000 for training, and then I can make XYZ, but they only have $5,000 or $6,000, which is their life savings, and then they get that reality check when it's like, okay, I got my certificate. Oh, hold on a minute, I need a studio. Or even if you don't need a studio, right? Even if you bootstrapping and you're in the basement, you got to get the supplies, you got to get the equipment, you got to get your name out there. You need a website. You can't say you're gonna charge $3,000 for something and they can't even find you because they're gonna be like, "Yo, that's a little suspect." So like
Yeah.
we spoke about this, and I was really hoping that you were willing to be transparent about it because I heard you kind of were talking about. I saw a video you were on. Damn, I'm trying to. I hate that I'm forgetting their
On
pod,
point.
man. And these are my peoples too, man. You were in
Maybe on
Cali,
point. Yeah, on
on
point.
point. There we go, on point.
Shout
Talking
out to
about,
them,
and I
man.
was
Shout out to
like,
them.
yeah, shout out to them, man. And him and his wife, man, they dope too.
Cool,
Um,
cool.
how do like when you're talking to the students, man, like, are you that transparent about it as well too? Because you're doing well with your trainings, bro. So like, are you letting them know, like, look, guys, you made this investment on yourself, but just know when you move forward, there's gonna be some more money to spend if you really want to be successful in this game.
100%. One of the biggest things for me ever since I've been training, which it's been at least 4 years that I've been doing training, is that it hurts me mentally and emotionally to see that student go and do nothing with it. So I sit here and I'm like, damn, did I not do a good job? Did I not train good enough and give them everything I had? Or why aren't they successful? Okay. So to answer your question is I give everybody the best out of me, and the next class even gets better, right? Because I learned from the prior one and I got more skill, and I try to make it so that they could be successful. But at the end of the day, when I talk to them before they want to do the training, I kind of interview them to make sure that they're going to qualify, right? If they're coming from the barber industry, the beauty industry, esthetician, they're halfway in the door already because more than likely they have equipment, they have some experience, they know how to get clients, right? But
Right.
when it's somebody that comes from a warehouse or a phone job and they just want to change their life, I got to give it to them and say, hey, this is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard if you don't know people, if your social media is not up to date, if you don't talk to many people. You're going to have to be a people's person, and you're going to have to understand that you have to go get it. It's not going to come to you, and it's going to be expensive after this. You're going to still have to get a marketing, Google ads. Your chair is going to be the most expensive thing after you leave my training, along with a place to do it out of, right? So that's all money. That's just really what it comes down to. And I want to keep it clear 100 with them because I don't want to bamboozle nobody at this point, right? Because I see so many other big artists, famous, and this and that, and people fall for that because they're like, shit, ex barber, and now he's making X amount of money. I'm sick of this. Let me go get it. Boom, 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 and then they leave, and they're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like Google
that's
Ads.
Google ads, easy peasy,
1,500
right?
easy. 1,500. If I don't got 1,500,
4,500
I
a
can't
head,
play.
and I'm doing 2-3 heads a day. It's not like that. It's not like that. People count your pockets, especially mine. They see when I post, they're like, oh shit, that's 5,000, 5,000. No, it's not like that. You spend time with these guys 3-4 times at 10, 12 hours. um you invest time, and that's the reason we charge a certain price, right? um so yeah, that's where I
Sure.
stand with that.
How do you see the S&P industry evolving in the next 5 years?
Man, I wouldn't. I would. For me, evolving is a word that I probably wouldn't say. The SMP world is evolving because it's going to a shit show because there's so much false advertising into what we do, right? I feel like it's not being introduced as how much work we have to put in
Yeah.
rather than, hey, you could just do this in 3 days and you're gonna go make 100,000 plus a year guaranteed. Come train with me for $2,500. And
Get
I'm
rich quick scheme.
like, what the hell? But guess what? These people fall for it because why? Because they see their lifestyle of the artist promoting it, right? And when I say don't get bamboozled by the gold chains and the rented cars, this is what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Said the
And
R. You said the R word, baby.
you know, and
Rent.
for me, it's something that eats me up sometimes because I'm like, damn, these guys are really flying out. They're really spending what they have. They're really thinking that they're gonna just blow up out of nowhere. When in reality, you got to do some research for the right trainer for yourself, right? If somebody called me from out of town and say, hey, I want to come train with you, I go, where are you at? Well, there's a good trainer there. If it's my choice, I'm going to have you train in that state because you could go to that trainer more than one time to go shadow him, to go sit with him, to go do a head at his studio rather than coming to me for 3 days. And it's more than likely that I won't ever see you again. Right. So I think that that's something that people have to look at when they're looking for training. I'm sure there's somebody in your state that's pretty good and that you could build a relationship with that you could go and say, hey, I'm going to do a training with you. What do you offer? I offer my students to come back, shadow me anytime they want. And they could also bring their first client with me so I could work on them the second session. All of my trainings, you have to bring a client for your first session as your model that you get to work on. So I try to switch it up a little bit and make it a little different than others, you know?
I think that's dope, and I commend you on that. I mean, not only does it make a logical sense, but financially, it helps the student out as well too. But to be able to just be like, listen, why don't you look for somebody in your state because you know at some point you're gonna need some further mentorship. And yeah, like you said, you know, some of these guys, yeah, they are flying out. And then it's like now for me to go see H again, it's just like financially I can't do that. So for you to tell them that, that's incredibly noble of you too to be that transparent. Where it's like, look, bro, I appreciate you wanting to come train with me, but you know, it's gonna take more than 3 days. You're gonna need some mentorship. So maybe somebody in your state should be able to do that. And I doubt.
I think the flying out thing is pretty good as a maybe like a second training, a master training. That's what I did, right?
Right.
I think that that's just, hey, I already made some money. I could go spend a little more on learning how to do this and then come back and I'm already set up, right? Also, I believe that after your training, and if you do like a second training, you have so many more questions. You're more knowledgeable about what you're asking and where you're at and in the area that you want to work on yourself by going to an artist that you look up to, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you want that too. You don't want to waste take a master's training. You only did two clients. I mean, you haven't even built enough experience to arm yourself with the questions. You don't even know what to ask. You're still asking
Exactly.
fundamental questions.
100%.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about SMP? I know we discussed some of them, but I'm talking about from a student's perspective, not a client.
Um, they think it's easy. They think it's dots and just, hey, I'm gonna dot people's heads and it's easy. I could do it with my eyes closed. They don't understand that until their model day on the third day where they get on there and they're like, oh shit. But here's what something how I fix that. I go through so many different drills to prepare them for that day, right? The drills that I do are a lot harder than the actual head. So that when they do get on the head, they're like, it's so much easier on the guy's skin. I'm like, yeah, that's why I built you up to this. You know, we
Interesting.
start with the dotting techniques. We start with the flat skin. Then we do the regular heads. And then we do this and that because that's harder. It's harder to dot on a flat surface. It's harder to dot on a fake skin that's like a head. It's harder to do it on a honeydew melon, a banana. But when you get on a head, what I taught you was the soft touch. You're going to be like, oh shit. All you have to do is adjust by adding a little more pressure rather than me just telling you, just bang it out. And then you get on the head and you bang it out. And then you're like, oh shit, I hate this. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the biggest things for me.
Hear that, guys? We're gonna have to get a couple of the guys together. Age got a technique that makes it easier for the students when they're working on a client hair. I don't know, man.
That's
We're
no cap, man. That's real
gonna have to
shit.
slide you some money under the table and
It's
pass
free
the
game on
torch.
this podcast today. Free game. So
Free
y'all
game on
they're
the
gonna have to really
podcast.
tune into this one. We're giving out free game.
Check this out. Let's transition into you and you actually doing technique, right? So we're gonna give out some free games. How do you ensure the quality and consistency on your S&P treatments, man? What's that mindset like?
So feel me rain from behind. Black rain, black rain. Peace to the in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. So feel the rain from behind. Black rain, peace to the in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. To feel the rain from behind. I'm sorta like a killer devil rebel. The getaway cars are the sounds of the bass and the treble. Cause I get into mine able and ready, so keep
My consultation is everything. The first time that I get to see, feel, touch the skin and understand the client. And 10 minutes into my first session, I'll know exactly how I'm gonna approach the rest of the sessions, right? Because sometimes you got nice tight skin, sometimes you got rough skin, thick skin, thinner skin, skin with dandruff, with dead skin, shit like that. You know, you have to really dissect the skin to understand how you're going to go about it. You can't, this is not like a stencil that you throw on and you follow. Everybody's different. This is why I love doing what I'm doing, right? Because every hairline is going to be different. Even if it's a natural, it's going to be different. If we use the stencil, then it'd be the same and it's mediocre, right? That's what I'm not. I'm quality and I'm going to adjust to what the head is like. And that's one of the things that I focus. And I read my reviews a lot because sometimes as an artist, you feel like, damn, am I not that great or am I? And I go back and I read what these people are dropping me and they're dropping me stories. And I'm like, I am fucking great because these guys, I changed their life and these are high top dogs that I'm working with, right? This is not a cheap procedure. So you get high-end clientele. And when they're talking about you, the way that they talk about you, it makes me have that passion to the fullest because sometimes you'll feel like, is S&P still for me? Is it dying? It gets you feeling some type of way. Sometimes it's slow and you're like, is this it? But then when you go back to those things and then the things that they say about you because you put so much love and work and quality into their head, it's just like, okay, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah, man, definitely S&P has some rewarding aspects to it. Can you tell us about one particular client that, I mean, it could be old, a new one that you knew that you were like, yo, like it hit you and you was just like, I'm doing this, bro. Like I'm sticking to this. What was that story?
I'll give you something a little different because most of my clients, they end up doing the procedure with me. At this point in Utah, there's a good amount of artists now, right? Whether they're new or maybe a year or whatever. But now they have options. When they come to me, it's no longer like it used to be 2 years ago. We're like, yep, every consultation, it's game time.
Yeah, you're the chosen one.
Other options, right? Now they look up and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna do a consultation with H and then go here and here and see what's up. But from jump, I talk to him just like you and and I get comfortable with him. I'm myself. I'm not wearing scrubs. I'm not a doctor. Not that I'm against the people that do. That's fine. But for me, I'm in here in gym clothes sometimes, just me, and they love that, right? Because they could be themselves. But what I love is somebody that comes in here who ain't fucking with me. I could tell. I could read him, and they're just like testing me, and I'm like, my goal at that point is just
Hurt you.
wait until I get you in my chair and you look at me and be like, my man, that's the funnest ones for me right there. That's just what it is for me because I get to break him and not just when they get to see themselves in the mirror and be like, I didn't trust this, but I love this now, right? But the fact that they're like, I would have never on the street fuck with a dude like you because of their status versus mine because of how we look different, right?
Right.
But because we sat there in that chair for 2 hours, 3 hours, and had a conversation the whole time, and we had so much in common, they're like, my nigga type stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, hey.
That's my man now. That's my therapist. He's everything right now. My best friend.
And then the greatest part is the last session, they'll tell you and be like, the only shitty part is I won't get to come and see you no more. Some of my clients still stop by just to say hi and bullshit with me.
That's wild. You know, now that you say that, I just experienced that this week, and I hadn't in a very long time. And the client was like, yo, man, this is bittersweet, the third session. So I was a little lost. Like I said, I haven't heard it in a while. And he was like, you know, man, just coming up here. And he was coming up from Pennsylvania, bro. Like he was 3 hours, almost 4 hours coming up here to get the 3 sessions. He was like, it's bittersweet, man. I love your vibes. It's so cool. Like we bonded. And I was like, damn, like, yo, that's dope, bro, to hear that. And they're paying us, bro. They paying us top dollars.
Yeah. I mean, I don't ever expect tips. I don't, because this is something that you're charging high price for.
Right.
But sometimes when these guys drop you a trip, they're like, hey, let me tip you. And I'm like, no, it's cool. I am happy to do this because I already charged you and it's cool. Let me give you a tip. And I'm like, all right, cool. Boom. And then I look and I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. It's not a barber tip. It's not a $10 buddy. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Bro, I'm telling you.
We eating hibachi tonight. We eating hibachi tonight.
I'm just like, damn. Thank you, God. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed. I'd be like, thank you, God. Because if it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be here and it wouldn't be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, yeah.
What are some challenges that you faced in your S&P career, bro, as you were coming up, and how did you overcome them?
My biggest challenge was at the beginning of my career because there weren't too many artists at the time, right?
Gotcha.
Who I trained with John Chandler. That was my first one over at Scalp Co.
Dope.
And at the time, John's busy as shit because, you know, he's running the whole West Coast at the time. And obviously to try to go back and forth and get the text right back and shit, and hey, I need help. I get it. You can't get back to the person right away. My biggest challenge was getting information about that procedure that I'm doing the day of and not knowing, and I had to figure it out as I went and pretend like I knew what the fuck I was doing. I'm sweating inside. My armpits are fucking, I'm like, God damn. And the client, you have to pretend like you're an expert. That challenge right there was everything to me, right? The hairline. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to reset and just, I think I got something better when you can't get that hard edge up and it's a little off, this and that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm just saying, those were the biggest challenges, right? To get outside help. Also, you reach out to somebody else, and most of them at the time, again, they'd be like, well, why don't you ask your trainer? Back then, the game wasn't, it was only sold. It wasn't nothing like, here, let me help you out. Nowadays, you could ask almost anybody, and most of them are going to be like, yeah, I do it like this, or I do it like that. These new people coming into the game have it so much easier than when we started, because nobody wanted to tell us shit.
Big gatekeepers, bro.
And
that was a big one too. Like you didn't give me $5,000 for your 3-day training.
I had a top dog at the time tell me that. He goes, who'd you train with? I go, this person's like, why don't you go ask him? And I was like, you know what? I was like, I got you. I remember you. And then there was one more challenge that I had at the time. I was so confused about the ink mixtures, right? Because there's so many, right? And I'm like, well, damn, which one do I use? This one says light, fair with Hispanic and maybe Caucasian. And what shade do you use, right? That was the biggest challenge for me, is finding the right shades. And what I did to overcome that is I created my own light, medium, and dark. And I based it off my last client with his skin tone, with what I used. And for my next client, if he was lighter or darker, then I'd go back to this one, or mix some and this and that. And I just came up with a whole lot of shit, dog, that
just helped you get through.
That I paved my own road. And again, I had people that helped me, right? But I had to figure it out, dog. I had to figure it out. It was like you threw me in there and I came back out and I was ready to go.
They threw you in with the wolves and you came back out as the pack leader.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I've been taught my whole life. So I had to figure it out whether I had help or no help.
Speaking of pigment and figuring out which one you wanted to use or had to use, what are you using now? What are your tools? What machine are you using? What needle are you using? What pigment are you using?
So I'm on the Blends Pro team right now.
Dope.
With Chris, that's my boy. He was actually the second guy who trained me and has helped me ever since. Always showed me love. So shout out to Chris over at RSMP. He put me on his team, and I used the blends and the arrows. I'm not against any other pigment because before that, I tried every pigment, and I feel like it did good. None of them did bad for me. But at this point, I'm rocking with Chris, and that's what I'm rocking with his blends
Oh,
because it's giving me the results I like, right? But I'm not that dude to put aside something that's on the hype. If something's on the hype and everybody's using it, I want to see why they're using it, and I'm gonna try it out.
right.
I'm not against other pigments. I think all pigments are great. I mean, for 2 years, I used world famous tattoo ink, and I look at the results because a lot of them are my friends, and I'm like, damn,
Crisp, right? Still crisp.
damn, or. So sometimes it makes you question about these new crazy pigments that are only for SMP bullshit sometimes. But I think that you should use a pigment that works best for yourself, whether it's this or that, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
That's how
I
I
mean,
feel about tools.
what about the pen? What kind of machine you
I
using?
use the Flux. The Flux. Every time the Flux wireless comes out, I'll buy the new one because I like it. I've used it ever since they came out. I like wireless. I'm against wire shit, so it fits right in my hand.
Gotcha. What advice would you give someone who's just starting out in the S&P industry?
Oh man, you already know. Practice, 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 practice. Dot everything wherever you're at. Um, you have to practice in order to get good. You got to practice, man. You got to love it, live it, eat it, sleep it, have bad dreams about it, good dreams about it. Wake up, go do it. If you don't have a head, go get a melon. That's how I got good with the light touching was the melon. There was weeks that I didn't have a client, and every day I'd have a melon. I hated doing melons, but that's what got me
I
good. You practice your hairlines. And now there's so many more things than melons. You got the plastic, the heads from my Scalp Micro USA. Them are fire. They're fire. That's as close as you're gonna get to something real. Um, Also understand that you have to have some money after this. You have to have some money. For me, I would say $10,000 is a good start because you could get a good training for 35, 4,500. Right after that, I think that you could get yourself into a place and get you a bed and get going, right? You got about a month or two to get some clients to start making some money, or at least build your portfolio. That's another big thing. You got to build your portfolio, you know, huge for me. If you ain't about that life, then it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough.
you ain't making them 6 figures in 6 months.
Shit, you ain't making no 6 figures in 2 years.
3 years, it ain't happening.
you know,
I tell cats
um,
all the time, yo, I made 23,000 my first year, 32 the second year, went down to like 20 something my third year. It was like the fourth and fifth. I was just like, oh, okay, we
yeah.
on to something.
Right. Also, I think that for the people that want to get into the industry, it's really important to do the research. Just like if you were a client, how you're going to do your research for a good artist, right? You got to do a research for a good S&P trainer. You got to do a good research to not go into a 30 student class in 2 days, because the reality of it, those are classes honestly for people that already took that main training. You have to get a good 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 people in your class because they're going to teach you how to do it, right? You're
What
going to have
person?
time, and make sure that if it's a big class, that there's other instructors. It's not just one, because with one person you can't do it, and that you get some model time. I know that I've seen so much of a square inch per student, and that shit ain't gonna do anything for you, man. It ain't. You know what I mean? And sadly, that's what's happening. You
I,
can't have one model for 6 students. You can't.
I
You
mean,
know,
shit, even doing a half a head, I mean, that's
you have to have
good.
time. You have to have time, be able to offer like that's why I said if you could find somebody within your city or close that you could go back to, and they offer that, hey, come back for that second session with your model, and it's going to be a one-on-one with me, and I'm going to teach you what you did wrong in the first session or what you did right, and now we know what it's supposed to look like. And those are the things that you have to look for as somebody that wants to get into the industry.
For sure. And you offer training yourself. Talk to us real quick about your training. If someone's listening right now and they're like, yo, I like H the Technician style. I want to come out to Utah. Here's your chance, brother. What are we going to learn when we
So
come get training from you?
I base my trainings off how I go how not to botch nobody up. That's what I specialize in, right? After that, you can do whatever you want. So what I'm teaching is soft, light touches. If it takes you 4, 5, 6 sessions, it's okay.
Oh, man.
It's okay. You're gonna get, first of all, more time on the machine if you do 5 sessions. Some people might think like 5 sessions, what the hell? Well, guess what? If you're light touching, you're understanding your pressure, your machine speed, the ink that you're using within those 5 sessions, by that second procedure, not by the second client, you're going to understand so much more. So you want to learn how to do proper SMP and breakdown on the hairlines and keep them cool. I mean, that's what I offer with me and my associate who I have, who's one of my good guys, and he's another artist. And we just focus on being natural and having no botched up jobs. Because when you do a botched up job, and I did them before, you don't sleep good at night if you care, you know what it's like. I had nightmares before where I was like, God damn, oh my God. I see people sometimes that I know that I did, and I'm like, let me just pay for your laser, please. And that's how I feel. That's because I care. If it was just about the money for me, then I wouldn't give a fuck, bro. It'd be whatever. Like,
yeah, for sure. I got that one cat that I buy, and I see him, and I'll be like, yo, bro, just let me. He's like, nah, I like this shit though, Dave.
I'm telling you, my first client was one of my best friends, and I'm like, so when are you gonna come? He's like, but I like it, I love it. I'm like, I know, but I hate it, you know. But that's what I offer, is how not to botch up a head. And I feel like once you understand that, you could do anything you want, you know.
For sure.
Like you just go, you go and add a little bit more, you know. That's just really what it is. Yeah, and you get a good training kit, you get a good training through, you know. Like I said, I have the passion for this, and I love doing it. And I think that teaching is one of my favorite things to do, because where I come from, I wasn't supposed to be shit in life. And for me to be able to give somebody a career and to provide for their family is everything. And it's something out of this world, you know. That's why I keep saying I'm blessed, because I'm blessing other people's pockets, heads, lives, you know. So it's different for me.
For sure. Absolutely, brother. Amazing story. I appreciate you, bro. But before we wrap it up, H, can you let the listeners know where they can find you online, social media, if they want more information on you and some training?
Yeah, for sure,
man. They want to get the SMP done by you.
So even first of all, any new artists out there, any artists out there, you could always reach out to me on my social media, H_the_technician, and I'm always willing to help. You don't have to pay me. You don't. I'm not gonna get on a call and charge you. If I could help you be better by just a simple answer for you, and it helps, I'm always willing to do that. And I have so many people that could back me up on that, because I do it, and they're like, hey, how much should I Venmo you? And I'm like, I don't need nothing. The more better SMP out there, the better for us as artists. The more clientele we'll get, right? Because it already has a bad name for most people, because they think a hair tattoo and a helmet, hell no. But if we as a community of SMP start providing proper SMP, it's gonna bring us clientele forever, you know? So again, social media, H the Technician, H_the_technician. And you can reach out to me anytime for procedures, training, or even if I could help you, I'm willing to.
Dope. Outstanding. H, I appreciate you again, my brother, for jumping on the podcast, taking out some time. I know it was long overdue. My feelings were hurt in the beginning. Nah, they weren't. I know it is what it is, but
you don't have to. Come on, man.
Now, man. I'm glad that you got on now, man. Hopefully we could tap in, you know, maybe do a training or something. You never know. You ever in New York?
Ready for whatever, brother. I'm ready for whatever. As long as we can help this industry and really push it. And I think that's just what needs to happen. You know, there's so much ego into the industry, and it's hard. It's hard. I ain't gonna lie. I don't have an easy day here, whether it's with clients or students or even just artists around the world, because I wish that it could be a little different and that we could unite and really make this pop off the way it should.
That's all right. We will. We got dudes like me and you, and there's a couple more of us out there that, you know, they want to do the right thing.
Shout out to all my boys out there, all my handful of SMP artists right here. There's this many right there that I love, and you guys know who you are, man. Yeah, you're a
Right.
part of one now, so it's all love.
Appreciate you, brother. Dope. H, again, I appreciate you for jumping on the podcast. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions
S&P
podcast.
life, baby.
Till the next time. Peace.